And welcome in everyone to the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich. I'm Joe Kraus from Jacob. Henry, good to kick off January in 2025. We're all presented by Faith Christian Academy. We've got a great opening show here on the National High School Wrestling Show.
Show two. Opening was at Faith during the SEM match a couple weeks back. The holiday, we're catching back up, Joe. Catching back up. And no, very excited about tonight. We have the studs of all studs coming on this show tonight in the form of brothers. We have the Bassett brothers and the Bachman brothers coming on tonight. Super excited about this episode, Joe.
Also, a little bit later on, we'll finish up the show with Ben Clymer will join us to finish up show number 2, show 1 of 2025, show 2 of the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich. We'll get to our first commercial break. Back in a moment. And back here on the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich, I'm Joe Kraus. You're watching, of course, across the Jacob Media Network. Big show today to kick off January. It's our Brothers edition. Henry, excited to jump in and meet some of the incredible wrestlers that you've lined up for the opening show here in January.
Absolutely, Joe. Listen, I've been waiting for about a month for this particular episode to go on. Hunting these guys down is no easy feat. They're either always in the gym, always eating right, always sleeping right, but they snuck us in tonight. In fact, these guys are going to jump off and go do a workout after this down at the River Club, which is probably the one room in the United States that reminds me of the 300 movie when they send the kids out at 6 to hunt wolves. That's the room. That's where the wolves live, in the River Club. So we have Fred and Joe Bachman on here. I could probably spend the next hour going over their accolades alone. All the trophies, all the awards that they've gotten, the national and global recognition. These guys are the real deal. They are mom's from Puerto Rico, right, guys?
Yeah.
And in fact, before we go any further, I want to stop and talk about their international glory and international fame. So we'll start with Joe. Joe, tell all the viewers that are listening for the first time about how was it to represent Team Puerto Rico in the World Games, right, or Pan Am Games?
Both. Yeah, so it was just a cool experience. You know, most people from that wrestle PIAA wrestle for try to go for USA, so it was a little easier route to go to Pan Ams and Worlds. But I got to wrestle the winner of Greco, Pan Ams, and freestyle. So at Worlds, so it was just a cool experience, and then seeing what it's like in Santo Domingo, Mexico City, and Panama City, just the different cultures, and then they're more a little Americanized. You can see some in the city, but then when you go to a Amman, Jordan, or Istanbul, Turkey, it's a little different. It's really cool though, the mosque and everything else.
So it's amazing to me that wrestling is really taking you two around the globe. And you're in high school. It's not like, college teams, the Olympians, they're used to doing all that. But you guys are in high school, traveling the globe. Fred, tell me about Istanbul. What was that about? First of all, in Puerto Rico, do you guys speak Spanish?
No.
A little bit, un poco, a little. You know all the curses. Mom probably hit you in all. When you're in trouble, you know some Spanish, right? But what was Istanbul, Turkey? What was that about?
Istanbul was really fun. It was in the city. It was a little more Americanized, but once you got out a little more, it was really cool to see everything. They had the mosque, the little small towns with and the people there are just so nice. It's crazy, but wrestling there was also really just a whole new experience because I've never wrestled on an international stage before that. Actually, I wrestled at Pan Am's, but Worlds was the first really big thing. I lost my first match, but it was a learning experience for me just to get better. And next year I came back and I took second at Jordan.
Yeah, I love that you said you learn from a loss. I try to tell my guy all the time, hey, you learn more when you lose than when you go out and just wipe somebody up on the mat, tech fall them in 2 minutes. Yeah. You learn from every loss. You go back, you review tape, and I'm glad to hear that even the elite, Joe, these guys are elite of elite. So my partner is not a wrestling guy. He's learning the ropes And through this show, we're going to travel the country and talk to the best wrestlers around the country and just get their point of view. It's amazing to me how similar the elite are. I mean, the elite are different from the masses, but the elite, when you're up there, all these guys have the similar mindset, the same training ethic. It's pretty cool to know that standard is the standard no matter where you go at these levels. So, Joe, I'm going to spitfire a couple questions at these guys, and we'll see how they handle the limelight here. They're used to wrestling in front of thousands of people, so this should be no problem for them. So, Joe, I'm going to hit you with this first. You guys are now internationally known. You guys have fans all over the globe at this point. But if you could go back in time and ask yourself, your younger self, or give your younger self some advice based on where you now are, what would you give advice to your younger self? Little Joe, 5, snots on the mat. What advice would you get? And Joe, I knew these guys when they were that little too, so I'm not kidding. But what advice would you give to your younger self now that you are where you are?
Yeah, so for when I was younger, like it doesn't matter as much as like right now because like you're getting colleges looked at you now. But like I'll say take those times in the tournaments and really just focus on wrestling and not like cutting weight and just focus on getting better at wrestling and not put as much pressure because like I seen kids really good at a young age then just fall off because the pressure got to them. But if the pressure is too much, like you don't want to do the sport anymore. So like just fall in love with it first and then start like adding stuff on top of it. But like I had a lot of pressure at first and like it was a lot, but like I got a nice little break over COVID and got to like get my mental game back into place. And then like you saw during like my high school season career, like I'm letting it fly a little bit more and like falling in love with it more.
Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. So Fred, you guys are now the hunted. You guys are elite. You're at the top. You're ranked in the world. Every kid that sees your name on their schedule after he poops his pants, he focuses in and he's like, I want to take care of one of these Bachmans. Like your picture, like is probably in the Rocky movie. Rocky's getting ready for Drago. That's you. Everybody's hunting you guys now. What is that mindset different change in when you were younger hunting those big names and now you are now the hunted? Is there a mindset change? Is it different? Explain that to me. How's that feel?
I don't think that there's much of a mindset change because you're going out there and you're still wrestling the kid you would wrestle no matter what. So it's wrestling at the end of the day. It's the same sport. But I think being able to be number one is just such a privilege to be able to wrestle at such a high level and with such a good team. We're like number 1 or number 2 at this point right now, but it's just like a privilege to be able to, like most people would think that it's not fun to be hunted by everyone else. I think it's amazing because everyone's coming to wrestle me. So it's just really fun, I think.
Fred, you heard your brother talk a little bit about pressure and how he worked through that process. How about you? Same experience or no?
I don't really think that all the pressure was more on him. I would think because he was older, he was doing way more than like last year. I was still in middle school. I wasn't really doing I was still wrestling and getting all like VAC and national middle school duels, but the competition wasn't as tough. But I think all the pressure was more on him because he was the one paving the way to be able to wrestle at such a high level.
So speaking of pressure and dealing with the flashing lights, because you're at Faith Christian Academy, all eyes are on you guys all the time. That whole school, all eyes are on every wrestler in that lineup. Dealing with that pressure, and you're kind of used to the big stage. What does it mean having a brother in this sport to go through this with you? I mean, listen, I've seen you guys go at it before. It's not always brotherly love. I mean, it's underneath this brotherly love, but these two go at it, Joe. So, but what does it mean just to have a brother, with you going in the trenches with you?
So I can say to have a brother, like I'm the one, last year I paid the path, like undefeated season, but this year he did a little bit more to me, like one Super 32, one Beast. And that's always like a competition, like in the back of my mind, like, damn, I gotta work a little bit harder. He did this, he did that. But like in the practice room, I always try to get on his nerves because like I know I can get on his nerves if I like hey fight a little harder with it. But like it's all just to get us better for those tough times in the match.
Joe, it's hysterical, man. These guys are. It is. I can't even. I don't have time to go into how funny these two are when they're going at it. Fred, how about you? What's it mean to have the brother?
It's amazing to be able to wrestle with Joey every day in the room because he's the one who got me to where I am and this point. Like I have a bunch of other great partners, but no one's pushing me as hard as Joey just because I need to go harder because I don't want to lose 10 times as bad because he's my brother. So I can't be hearing it when I get home.
No, I mean, and the competitive level is through the roof. I mean, listen, Dad's a super competitive guy too. So Joe, little history. I met their father, Freddie Boom Boom Mancini. He was a pro fighter as well. I met him at the Sylvester Stallone and Sugar Ray Leonard had a show called The Contender, and him and I were both trying out for it. So that's the first time I met him. And then the next time I meet him, our kids are wrestling each other. They're both 5 years old in some dingy gym in Plymouth. But their dad's a whole nother story. We could do just a segment on him and Tiger Woods' dad and Serena Williams' dad. Like he's the engine behind all this. But real quick, in the last year and a half, you guys were at Puerto Rico, right? Three times, Mexico City, Istanbul, Turkey, Panama City, Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, Amman, Jordan. They've amassed 17 Super 32 belts between them, 8 Pan Am golds, 3 world medals, 3 Ironman titles, 2 Beasts of the East titles, and a partridge in a pear tree. Like these guys have done almost everything that you can do, and they're still in high school. So the sky's the limit with these guys, and the work ethic that they have, and the father driving them is going to be a good formula, Joe. So I got a question for Fred. What adversity, if any, have you had to overcome in this sport?
There's little adversity things that you can get over pretty easily, but I'd say I'm pretty healthy, so I don't have to go through a lot of adversity through that aspect. Like I'd say I'm pretty healthy, like I haven't gotten hurt at all or anything. So I'd say I'm lucky to be able to wrestle my whole season so far. But I think losses are probably the biggest adversity I have to go through, and the thing that gets me through that is just you didn't work as hard as the other guy, or the other guy wanted it more than you. So you just have to go back and look at what you did wrong and see what you can do better. And sometimes it's not even that they're better than you. You just didn't wrestle good, but sometimes they probably put a little more work in than you. So you just have to go back and train harder pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, after a loss at your caliber, it's not a total, I wouldn't say it was a total reset. It's just, more polishing, right? Or just, does it really weigh on you if you guys lose a match, or do you turn the page and look at that match again and just turn the page and go? You don't carry it, right? You just let it go?
No, well, you have to look at what you did wrong first, but yeah, after you look at what you did wrong and fix it, what else are you going to do about it? I mean, you lost a match, so move on and learn from it and get better pretty much.
Awesome. Joe.
Good stuff, guys. Go ahead, Joe.
I would like Freddie said, he wouldn't carry it. Like I would carry it if I knew I didn't give everything I had. Like if I knew I put everything in the training, and then when I went out there and wrestled, I didn't wrestle a little scared. I wouldn't carry it. But if I knew I didn't give my full potential, I would carry it then.
Good. Joe?
Guys, where are you in the process of thinking and trying to figure out where you're going to wrestle at the college level? Has that
a secret?
Is that factored in yet, or is that something that is that you're considering yet, or that's not even part of the process yet?
Oh, that's definitely something I'm considering right now, because June 15th comes around, the college coaches can call. So, I mean, I have like a list of colleges I want to visit in like my top 5 right now, but it could change in the future.
Does your top 5 know that they're in the top 5? Or
Um,
is
I
it
think a couple of them do due to Adam Waters, but
well, Joe, they want to keep this, this is a suspenseful thing.
Yeah,
Everybody,
I get it. I get it. I just didn't know where they were in the process. That's all.
they listen, if a college coach could have talked to them when they were 8, they would have, but they're not allowed. Let me hit this one with Joe. Joe, what will you miss when it's all done? And what won't you miss when it's all done?
so something I won't miss is cutting weight. That's probably the worst part of the sport. And over the past couple of years, I've lowered down on the amount of weight I'm cutting and just focused on getting better at wrestling. But something I will miss is those like pre-match nerves. Like when I'm out of it, like out of the sport, like during the summer and not competing, I'm like, I'll go back and watch my matches. I'll be like, it's pretty excited watching it.
Right. So you'll miss the adrenaline rush of that big stage. And listen, one day you're going to be an old fat guy like me that used to wrestle. And like your dad said earlier when we were talking, he gets really nervous, probably more than you guys do. I mean, this is everyday life to you, but it's something about watching your son in a combat sport. I'm not watching my son play wiffle ball, tennis, or golf. I'm watching him try to maul another person and be mauled back. So that rush and adrenaline, it could come from other sports. You guys do jiu-jitsu, right? MMA, you do a bunch of other things. So a lot of high level wrestlers turn to the UFC. Is that in anybody's aspiration here, maybe down the road?
100%.
Yeah, I definitely want to go in the UFC.
Yeah.
So your dad's got the stand-up game on lock, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be your promoter. Remember that when the time comes. All right, let me ask you guys this. This is a 2-part. This is for both you guys. Fred, you can go first. How do you deal with negative feedback? Because, listen, unfortunately, you guys are in the internet age. Anything you do can go global in a second. All eyes on you all the time. I know you have haters. You know you have haters. How do you deal with the negativity of the haters?
I mean, you just don't pay attention to it really. Like, they're obviously like not doing anything better than writing stuff about you and what you're doing. So why would you pay attention to someone when all they're doing is writing something about you? Like, they probably haven't done what you've done if they're just sitting on their computer typing stuff about how high schoolers aren't as good as the other high schooler they're wrestling. But yeah, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, and I just like to focus on wrestling.
Right. Joe.
Yeah, I just find it amusing that some old guy sitting in his basement just writing the stuff about little kid wrestling.
All right.
It's a little funny, but like if it was like Jordan Burroughs saying something, maybe I'll take it into consideration.
Right. A legit guy, right?
Did what I did, but like if it's some guy that never wrestled and played like tennis when he grew up, I've taken it to heart.
Yeah, it's hard to take him serious. So guys, let me ask you this. Let me know what the day in the life of a world ranked wrestler looks like. Give me the wake up. How many times a day do you train? Just map me through a day. And I know you guys are pretty strict on your diet when you need to be, and sometimes you're a little loose, but walk me through the training regimen. Like give me a typical weekend that's not a match. Like if you're at the River Club wrestling, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I'll give you a week, like during a weekday, and he can give you the weekend.
Okay.
So for me, I'm trying to like get a little bigger right now. So it'll be wake up and do some cardio, get my because I need to keep my cardio down for the season, and then go to school, probably eat something on the way to school, and then after school we have practice. We have like a little 45-minute break. I'll probably grab some food and then like do some stretching to get ready. And then after practice, we have weightlifting to get stronger and go home, do some homework, and then eat, and then shower, go to bed.
So you got 2 to 3 workouts a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even during the season.
Yeah.
During the season.
Yeah.
Okay. And running? Do you guys run every morning? Because I'm.
Oh yeah.
I run a lot.
I do. He does a lot of long distance. I do a lot of like sprints and like biking, swimming.
Okay. All right, Fred, tell me about a weekend that's not a match weekend.
Yeah, a weekend for us, probably at least two workouts a day. We're waking up, running or doing some sort of activity, and then we always have at least a practice for probably 9 to 12 or 12 to 3. And then if depending on what we did that morning, we'll go back and work out or something. But definitely at least two workouts a day in there. So either before practice or after practice, we're getting another workout in.
So there are no days off, right?
No.
That's somebody's favorite motto here. No days off. Joe, what was that motto you hit me with earlier?
Me?
Yeah.
Power in the pause.
Power in the pause. Explain that to my co-host here.
So our school has like a weekly fruit, like 1 of 10, and that's one of them. Our coach tells them to us. So it's like we get overwhelmed by like this and that, and like who's gonna go this way, who's gonna go that way. Instead of like enjoying on being in the spotlight and using it for God, we use it like it stresses you out. So like our coach says, get off your phone. Don't care what the politics say. Don't care what the critics say, and just like take your time, hang out with your family and friends, and just relax.
And just pause and just stop all the noise, right? Power in the pause. I like
Guys,
that.
what do you make of athletes today on the collegiate level, on the professional level, proudly professing their faith after having great success, after having success? What do you make of that?
I think it's a really good thing. Like Christianity is one of the biggest religions in the world, and I mean it's just like pointing people towards Christ and like just giving things towards Christ for what He has done. Like you wouldn't be here without Him, and you just want to give back. Use your stage, like it can really like it's like a sponsor. Like people wear like you can see John Jones wearing a Nike shirt, and their stocks could go up the next day. The same thing can happen with Christianity. Like someone says, "I thank God," and like gives a verse with it. People can be like really moved by that.
I mean, I'll have to say that this generation, my generation, never did it. I never heard a word about it because, Joe, us growing up, never talk politics, never talk religion. I think the wrestlers have pioneered it to be cool to talk about Christ, to talk about Jesus, to talk about your religion, to give thanks to a higher power for some of the gifts bestowed to them, you know. And don't get me wrong. These are the toughest guys. If you want to ever go into any kind of battle or any kind of confrontation, you want to walk with wrestlers. I mean, these are the toughest dudes around. It's the hardest sport there is. Boxing and wrestling, to me, were the two hardest, and wrestling's harder in my mind. So I love that movement. I love seeing the NCAAs and the college kids and all the high school kids openly professing their faith. And it's cool. It's not, you know, you're not some kind of Bible thumping freak.
Yeah.
Like if you did that back in our day, we'd be like, whoa, that's a little weird. We're not used to that. Today, it's awesome. I love it. And Faith Christian Academy is not only one of the premier wrestling schools in the country. I love everything about that school. I love that they pray before classes. I love that they put God first, and we need a little more of that in the world, in my opinion. So before we wrap this up, I'm going to spitfire you guys a couple questions because I think there's kids out there that they look at you, they look up to you, but they might not really know you. And every time you go on a show or you talk to a reporter, I'm pretty sure you get the same questions over and over again. So I'm going to spitfire a couple questions. Joe, you're first. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Favorite wrestler, I'd say Yanni Diakomahalis.
Favorite wrestler of all time, Fred?
That's tough. There's a lot of really good wrestlers.
Your brother, Joe?
Yeah. No. Probably Jordan Burroughs.
Jordan Burroughs. Okay. All right, Joe. Favorite NFL team?
Whoa.
Hold on. Let me move. Steeler back there.
Not the
Favorite
Steelers.
NFL team?
Probably the Eagles.
Fred?
Used to be a Panthers fan, but they
Whoa,
haven't.
how did that happen?
They haven't done anything in a while, so we hopped off that. We're probably Eagles fans now.
When Cam Newton played, they were never good. Joe.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. All right, Joe, favorite movie?
Well, 21 Jump Street.
All right, I like it. Fred?
There's a lot of good movies out
Nobody's
there.
going to say Vision Quest. Did you guys see Vision Quest?
Oh, I did see that. That's a good one. That's my favorite movie.
That is a good movie. All right. Joe, favorite band or training music? What do you guys train to?
Ooh, training music. It's a lot of like sometimes it's rap or sometimes it's like Taylor Swift. I don't know.
Oh my God. There goes your tough guy image right there. Right out the door. All she has is breakup songs. Fred, what do you train to?
The same thing he trains too. So yeah, whatever.
We got two Swifties on here. How about that, Joe? Would have thought that. All right. Favorite movie star? You have one?
Nah, I don't know.
No, they don't watch TV. They're always in the gym. Joe, your worst wrestling moment?
Losing the World Finals.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good thing you're young enough to go back. Fred?
Yeah, he took mine. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
If that's your worst, like think about that, Joe. Their worst wrestle moment is they lost.
Actually, mine's losing the first round of Worlds.
When did that happen?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, because I know you were just in the finals.
Yeah.
All right, this is just when you were little. This doesn't mean now. When you were little, before you knew you were going to be all what you were going to be, what used to be your dream college? This doesn't mean it is now. Just putting that out there to the general public.
It was probably like Penn State and Cornell were my top two.
Okay, Fred?
I liked Ohio State a lot.
Buckeye, that's my team. I'm an Ohio guy. Joe, your dream college?
Right now?
I meant Joe Kraus, my co-host. No, we can't put any of that stuff out. That's like sacred, holy grail stuff. These guys can't say where they want to go until that time comes.
I will tell you this though, two of my kids are Hokies, went to Virginia Tech. It's a great school.
I hear good things about Virginia.
That's great school.
Going down south is just a great experience.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, I got Alabama. I got Xander at Alabama. I got Joseph and Kateri at Virginia Tech, and Isabel at Drexel.
Now
that's the lineup, and Brittany at University of Florida.
Drexel. These guys. The Drexel coach comes in all the time, right down the river, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, before they go, I have to ask this question. What's your dad's favorite saying? I mean, and I need a saying that you've heard a million times and you don't care if you ever hear it again because you've heard it so many times.
Come on, bud.
Let's go, Buck.
Yeah, let's go, bud. Yeah, that means that he's mad. He wants them to stop doing what they're doing wrong. Let's go, bud.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I've seen them and their dad, man. It's a whole. I'm telling you, it's a whole nother. We'll have to do a whole nother segment on the.
There's levels to the game.
Yeah.
There's levels to the game.
Oh yeah, there's levels to the game. That's another one of Bachmanism. So before we go, so Fred and Joe have 7 siblings or six other siblings.
Seven.
Your sisters are wrestling now, right?
Yeah, they wrestle.
How they doing?
They're doing pretty good. They like it a lot. They've done a
Yeah.
few tournaments.
Yeah, they got any first place trophies yet?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago they bring home their first place trophies.
So they're like gremlins. Just throw water on, the Bachmans multiply, and they just win all the wrestle match. So they got some big shoes to fill, right? So wait, before you guys go, you guys have a second sport, soccer?
Soccer.
play
We used to play soccer.
You don't play. You're done with. You're just a
Yeah,
one
we
sport
don't
guy
play.
now, right?
Yeah.
Keeping the focus.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Bachman.
All right, guys, good stuff, guys. Thanks for
Awesome
taking
interview.
some
You guys are
time
good.
tonight to join us on the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich. Good stuff, brothers.
Thank you.
See you guys soon. Good luck.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, Henry, good stuff there on our opening segment
Good,
here on the National High School Wrestling Show. We're going to pause. We'll take a commercial break. Another set of brothers, Henry, coming up on the other side as we roll along here in our opening show of 2025. This is the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich. Back in a moment. And welcome back, everyone, to the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Race. It's Joe Kraus here as we broadcast across the Jacob Media Network. Special thanks to Fred and Joe Bachman, who joined us in our opening segment. And then still to come, our final segment of the show today, Fred Clymer is going to join us. We'll go one-on-one with Fred, but another set of brothers coming up on the show. Henry, good opening show here in January, kicking off 2025.
Absolutely, man. And we're just going to keep on rolling with this brothers theme. Again, Faith Christian has 5 sets of brothers on the roster, and we just had the first 2, the Bachman brothers, who are the new up and coming sensations over there at Faith. And we are going to jump to the other side of the state and a rival team, Bishop McCourt of Faith, to deal with the Bassett family. So the brothers keep on rolling.
All right, I'll bring the Bassett family up, brothers up, brother. I'm going to drop out and listen to your interview. All right, brother?
Sounds good.
All right.
There they are.
Let's go.
The 3 animals from the west side of the state, the Bassett clan, along with Mr. Melvin Miller. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on this show. I don't know if you know this or not, but we just launched this show. Our first episode was before Christmas, and we launched the night Faith wrestled Sem. And we're going to roll every Monday night. We're going to keep visiting all the stud athletes, all the coaches, college coaches around the country. And you guys are part of history. You're our first show in 2025. So I thank you graciously for coming on. Me and your dad been jawing back and forth for a couple of weeks to make this happen. So I know you guys just got out of the gym. Have we eaten dinner yet?
Yeah, well, actually, we just crammed it in. So we ate dinner, and we wrestle tomorrow, and then we wrestle the next day, 2 goals. But we were able to eat dinner, and we're right onto the show. Excited to talk wrestling.
So listen, being an old dog, up in my 50s now, we never had these kind of platforms. I mean, how awesome is it? And sometimes how awesome is it not to have pretty much every step you make is being watched and monitored? So I want to go down the line here, and I'll start with Melvin. The pros and cons of being in the spotlight, because you guys are, pretty much kind of like the royal family of wrestling and social media. I mean, you guys are putting the footprint for the wrestlers to come on exactly how to do it. So, Melvin, what's the pros and cons of being in that limelight all the time?
Yeah, so pros are like, when you're always in the spotlight. I mean, people, they're seeing you, and I mean, you got to win and lose the right way. I mean, because if you lose, they're gonna look at you like you're a bad guy off the mat and mat, and like colleges don't like that. So, I mean, when you lose, they shouldn't know if you won or lost after. So, and then cons, I basically just said the cons and pros. It's just you gotta just act the right way.
Well, I'm sure the pros are 2-3 million girls know who you are. That could be a pro.
For Melvin,
Not that much.
Yeah, he's leaving that good stuff out. All right, Bo, tell me pros and cons. What are the upsides and downsides to this journey so far?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a lot more pros in my opinion. I think you can put a great image out there, right? You can change the sport maybe. You can, just be maybe a billboard for the right things, doing the right things in wrestling and life. And I think that, if anything, you can change the sport of wrestling. And I think that's the ultimate goal for us, is to do everything right, work extremely hard, put the right message out there. For me, I know that I want to change the sport, and I want to grow it, and I want to grow my faith and be able to use this platform to share my faith. So those are some of the pros. And then I think some of the cons is, again, you got to be held accountable. Maybe every move that you make is being watched.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing a lot of times. I think that keeps you accountable, and that keeps you doing the right thing. So I think if there's any cons, it's that people are always watching. But you can kind of make that into a pro, I think. So that's what I would say.
So Keegan, you heard the answers of the older Bassets, and how is it for you? Like it, being Bo's brother, you guys being all three of you guys. Like, how is this experience from the youngest point of view? Because usually the youngest is, in my family, he's the toughest because he got beat up all the time by all the older brothers. So I mean, for you, Keegan, how's it been? How's the journey so far?
I think it's good, since like Bo's pretty popular, they know about me a lot. I think some cons are like, for instance, in your matches, like if you have tendencies of doing certain things, like they know that, so they might scout you. So you gotta always evolve, always get better. And I think some pros are just like your name's out there and people know you.
So earlier on our show, we had the Bachman brothers on, and it seems like there's like you guys, the Bachman brothers. There's Faith has 5 sets of brothers on it, and it's pretty cool and unique to grow up and wrestle and have a brother or close family members next to you. How important is that for you as a trio, to have each other to lean on?
Yeah, so I think being the youngest, like they're great role models. They're people to look up to. Like if I'm doing something wrong, I can ask them. Like, if I'm struggling, maybe if I didn't have a tournament that I wanted, they can help me and work on the stuff that I need to be working on.
So I talk to a lot of elite athletes in some of the training that I do. So I'll go with Melvin on this. Melvin, what kind of adversity or setbacks have you had in your career that there was a noticeable, I have to pick myself up, or how do you deal with adversity? Even if there was adversity, I don't know. Is there anything that you could think of that, little trials and tribulation on your side?
Yeah, so at States last year, I hurt my knee pretty bad, and I'm one of the only few at Bishop McCord that can win 4 state titles. And so I hurt my knee in the quarterfinals, and I was down 5-0. And I mean, you got 2 choices. You can either default out, and I mean, you could have won 4 state titles, but if you look back on that, and then you only won 3, and I mean, defaulting out, you probably would do that. So I fought through my quarters, semis, and finals, torn MCL, and I mean,
a torn MCL.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and you fought through that and won the tournament.
Yep.
That's amazing, man. That sounds like a movie, actually. My son just got diagnosed. He has a torn meniscus. He has to go and get it cleaned up. So he's acting like it's all over. No, it's not, right? So you got it surgically repaired, right?
No, I did not, because
you just rehabbed it.
Yeah, because I had trials like a month. Sorry, I had trials like a month after. So
we'll cut that out. We'll edit that out.
I just rehabbed it for like 3 weeks, and then I had like 3 practices, and got right into trials and won that, and then had Worlds like 2 months after.
And still, it just kept rolling.
Yeah.
So you didn't even let the injury not even slow you down. You just kept rolling right through it.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. How about you, Bo? Any adversities that you could think of?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest adversities might even just be like a loss in a match over years. And I think that some of those losses stick with you for a really long time. And those are the ones you remember, I think. And, you can learn from wins for sure, but you learn a lot about yourself in those losses and the way that you respond from them. I think a lot of times it's not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. So I agree. I mean, what Melvin went through is real adversity. I haven't ever really had any adversity like that as far as injuries or being out or anything. But I can say that I'm really grateful for that and blessed to be healthy. But like losses and things like that have only motivated me and made me a lot better. And I think those are the ones that come to mind for me.
Okay. How about you, Keegan? Anything?
I think some adversity like I'm dealing with right now is like I'm kind of small for the weight. I'm not a full 106 yet, but I'm working on it and I'm getting bigger.
Now, you mean some guys that are sucking down?
Yeah.
Bigger guys, stronger guys?
Yeah, bigger, stronger guys. I got to break them.
What'd you say? You got to break them?
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So, Bo, let me ask you this. What legacy do you hope to leave when you're done high school?
Yeah. Well, I think about that a lot. And it's kind of crazy, actually. We were supposed to pick a word for this year that we wanted to really take into our own, make it kind of the word that we're living by. And that was one that I chose, was legacy. And I want to make sure that the way that I'm living and training and competing is like up to that. Like I want to leave a legacy. And I think, one day I want to achieve this or achieve that. But honestly, I just want to change the sport. I like to wrestle a style that is really high pace and scoring points and exciting for people to watch. So that's part of my legacy. And I think the biggest and most important part of my life and my legacy is my faith. So, if that's the center of my life and that's how I represent myself, then that's all I could really ask for out of myself. That's what I would like to leave as my legacy.
Yeah, on our last set with the Bachman brothers, we were talking about faith and how this generation has embraced it and embraced being comfortable with talking about their faith and thanking Jesus and being grateful. And I think that that's pretty powerful stuff in lieu of the fact that it just wasn't commonly done before this era. Once in a while, you'd have an athlete, but it seems to me that a lot of wrestlers, and it makes sense because wrestling is blood, sweat, and tears. Like you learn yourself because of it's a combat sport. That faith is at the forefront of a lot of wrestling programs. And you see it at the NCAA championships. And it's just a beautiful movement, what's going on right now. And it's really powerful stuff to have young men and women openly professing their faith. I mean, when I grew up, you never talked about religion or politics, right? They were the two golden rules. But today, it's gloves off when it comes to faith. And how important is faith to all three of you in your quests here?
Yeah, I can start by speaking. Over the last couple of years, it's become the center of my life. And wrestling for the longest time was the center of my life, which is great. I mean, it's definitely a huge part of my life. It's big. It's also a game. But I think that when faith becomes the center of your life, not only will your wrestling get better, but I think just overall your whole life gets better. Those problems that you used to have aren't so big anymore. You find real purpose in yourself and in the meaning of life. And yeah, I mean, I'm chasing that. I'm chasing the Lord. And every day I try to get better at it and make new goals for myself. But I just know that I used to have a lot of pressure, especially in wrestling. And I can tell you the more that I get closer to God and the more I get in tune with my faith, the less pressure there is. And I think every single time I wrestle, the pressure is reduced more. And it should probably be adding more as I get older. But for me, it's just gotten more calm, peaceful before matches. And I don't know, allows me to have better performances. I think that's what it does for me. And again, that's what I want to represent, you know, and I constantly wear the shirts, not because it's cool, but because that's what I live by. And that's, you know, what I want to put out there. So that's what I would say.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. Melvin, how important to you, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, how focused are you on your diet in season and off season? Because, you know, wrestlers, we have to deal with that weight loss thing. And I don't know if you have to battle that or not. And of the three of you right here, I'd like to know who is the most strict with their diet and who cheats a little bit here and there. We could edit that out. If you,
All right.
I don't know why I'm thinking this. The younger one might cheat a little bit.
No. No, I mean, sometimes, everyone eats desserts and stuff, but in the off season, we're taking protein like 2-3 times a day. I mean, we eat healthy every day. So on a scale like 1 to 10, in the off season, I'd say like a 9.
On the off season, you're a 9 with strictness on your diet. Wow.
Yeah.
Or wait, or you cheat to a 9?
No, because in the preseason, in the season now, I don't really have to watch my weight, so and we don't really do protein as much.
Right.
But I'd say I cheat a little bit more in the season than I do off season.
Really?
Yeah.
I would never expect a wrestler to say that. That's funny.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good approach.
What is it cheat? Is it cheat like a Skittle, or is it like I'm going to eat this whole chocolate cake?
It's like ice cream, you know.
Right.
I love ice cream, candy, Snickers, and all that.
All right. So hold on. Can you name Bo's favorite snack? Cheat food?
Airheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bo, can you name Keegan's favorite cheat food?
Oh, Keegan's got a few, but I would have to say Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch. And Melvin? What's your cheat?
Reese's.
Reese's.
Oh, I love Reese's. They're so bad for you though.
Reese's.
They're really bad.
Yeah.
They're like made with like silly putty or something to keep it together. All right, so off season you're in season you're a 9 with strictness, or off season a 9. So in season you're a 10 with strictness. Is that what you're saying, Melvin?
Yeah, I'd say.
Oh, off season.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that high, but I can tell you in the off season I was trying to put on a lot of weight, just because that's what we've been doing. So that's what Melvin was doing too. He goes up weight really fast, puts on muscle. He went up like 40 pounds one off season. So he does a good job with that. And I put on some weight this off season and made some jumps, but now it's kind of just maintaining. So I try to eat more strict. My mom does a great job of making us awesome meals that are really healthy and taste good too. So we do a good job with that. But I would say in season maybe 7, 8.
So
out of season probably a little bit less, 6, 7.
So if I dropped a bag of Reese cups on this set, went to commercial, and came back, and only one person could end up with them, who would end up with the Reese cups?
Me or Melvin. Yeah.
That was without hesitation. Without hesitation. This is for all three of you guys, because you guys are kind of, you're in the limelight a lot. How do you handle the haters? Because we know they're out there. How do you deal with that?
Yeah,
or don't you?
I love it. I think it's great because the most valuable thing you have in life is your time, and these people take their time to waste it on worrying about us or watching what we're doing, which is great. And whether they like you or they hate you, they're watching. So I always think about that. And I think the best way to treat that is to just keep doing the right things and having as much success as you can, but just working hard. Again, if you're doing the right stuff, it's hard for people to hate. They still find a way. But I think that they're going to find out and start to realize that you can't really hate someone who's doing everything right. And that's what we strive to do. And so that's, I guess, how I would approach it. What about you, Keegan?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have any haters, you probably aren't doing anything right. So, like, they're hating on you, now you're doing something.
Right. Melvin?
Yeah.
We don't have haters. We'll just body slam them.
Yeah, I think if you're getting hate, I think that you've arrived and people know who you are and stuff. But I just use it as motivation. I'm sure they do too, but it's part of the sport.
So let me ask you guys. I'll do this individually as well too. Tell me one thing. We'll start with Keegan. Tell me one thing you'd want your fans to know about you that nobody knows. Like I want it to be the same old interview. I want people to get to know you a little better. So, Keegan, tell me something that you want your fans to know about you that you have never said in public before. Or on the mic.
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough
Never
one.
said it.
Never really said before. Like people wouldn't know.
I have some. How about we do this? I have about 5, 6 questions. I'll spitfire right down the row, and maybe we'll find out something about you that way.
Let's do that.
There we go.
Keegan, favorite wrestler of all time?
Favorite wrestler, probably David Taylor.
Bo, favorite wrestler of all time?
I would say Spencer Lee.
Melvin.
David Taylor.
Oh, 2 T's and a Lee. Okay. Keegan, favorite NFL team?
Steelers.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, lost 4. You got to lose 4 in a row to win 4 in a row. We're coming for it all, Steelers.
Oh wow, we're really reaching far here. We got a trifecta here. Please don't say Cowboys.
No, I don't really got one.
You don't have a favorite NFL team?
No, I just watch my fantasy players. But
Yeah, pull that thing out. I like to go.
I'm gonna mail this to you. I'm gonna give this to you, and I need a picture of you, like at least thinking about becoming a Steelers fan.
I
Right?
have like 3 teams I like watching. I like watching like the Packers, the Ravens, and the Commanders. I like those.
All right, I like 2 of those teams. We never mentioned the Dirty Birds up in here. All right, so let's go. Melvin, start with you. Favorite movie?
The Predator.
Nice. One of my favorite too. Watch it every time it's on. Bo.
I would say Rocky 4.
Wait.
Rocky 4. That's
Is that with Drago?
yeah, that's right.
All right, Drago. Okay.
Yeah.
Keegan?
I'm gonna say Elf.
That's a classic.
There you go.
Yeah, how can you not like that? All right, we'll go back. Mel, Keegan, you start this one. Favorite band or training music? What do you guys listen to?
Zach Bryan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a big country guy. Anything country. I mean, we listen to everything though. It doesn't really matter, but country is like my favorite. So I would
Okay.
play country.
Yeah, I like anything, but when we're wrestling, I like rap and stuff. When we're vibing, I like country too.
Okay. Got some country fans up in here.
That's right.
All right, Melvin, favorite movie star? Female.
Oh, Zendaya.
Let's pass it these two. I gotta think real quick.
All right, you got so
Oh,
many.
man.
Good, Bo.
Us. This one's tough. You got one for that one, King?
Zendaya.
I know. I really like the guy who plays Elf. I'm really blanking on his name right now. I know it's Latino.
Oh, what the hell's his name? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Will
Will Ferrell. There we go.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
What, the girl that plays Wonder Woman.
Oh, I don't know her name either, but I'm with you with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over. Keegan, what's your worst wrestling moment that you could think of?
Losing to Melvin at back doors.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. 4-3.
get out of here! Wait, you were the same weight at one time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
I wrestled Bo too.
get out! You guys are all the same weight class at one time?
Yeah, that was probably my worst wrestling moment too.
Well, you keep the bad moments in the fam, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Bo?
They match.
How about you, Bo? What's your worst wrestling moment?
I don't know. I liked it. Like something that we started doing was trying to say that there's like we try to have no bad moments, or there's bad moments, but there's not bad days. You try to say like bad minutes, bad hours, but every day is a good day. But as far as like a bad moment, probably any loss or any time the team didn't win, something like that along
Right.
those lines. But we're hoping we have a lot of good moments the rest of the year, so we'll see.
All right, one at a time. What will you miss most when it's all done, and what won't you miss when it's all done? Melvin, you go first. What won't you miss, and what will you miss?
Out of like high school or like
Just wrestling.
just wrestling?
Just wrestling and jet. When you're all done, you're fat and old and bald like me.
Yeah, I'd say just spending time with our family and teammates. I mean, all the traveling we go on and all that, and stuff I won't miss is, I don't know, cutting weight.
Everybody says cutting weight. It's so
Weight.
funny. That's just universal with this sport, I guess, right? All right, Bo, what will you miss and you won't miss?
I'll miss traveling. I'll miss just that feeling, the excitement before a match, during the match. I'll miss the big crowds. I won't miss the feeling of when you put your headgear on. And, I won't miss, like, the dieting. Those two, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Keegan, what do you got?
I won't miss cutting weight. I'll probably miss like the friends I make along the way of my career.
Can you guys ever see you becoming coaches down the
I
road?
think, yeah, I would love to do that. I think so. But we'll
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, when you can't do it anymore, you got to teach it.
Yeah.
All
You
right,
can't ever
before
get
you go, what's your dad's most famous saying?
My dad came up with like all like the hashtags that I use and like machine gun mindset and sprint a mile, that stuff. So something like that. But some of his quotes are crazy. I keep them in my phone. If I could bring my phone out right now, I got some good ones. But I
Yeah.
can't say my favorite for him would be probably machine gun mindset. And he started that and I kind of took it. But I would go with that one. But there's a lot of pretty legendary ones.
No, that's solid, man. That is solid. So listen, guys, I wish I had more time with you. If it's okay, I'd like to do another interview near the end of the year. I really appreciate you guys giving me your time. You guys are awesome. I love following. We didn't even get into all the accolades and everything and all your tournament titles, which we will. I just wanted our audience to get to know the Bassett family, other than wrestling, a little more about them. Thank you so much. I wish you guys all the luck, and we'll be in touch soon.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
God bless,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
So much.
Thank
Take
you.
care. See ya.
Good stuff there, Henry Race. It was nice to hear the Bassets and the Bachmans joining us
Yeah,
here on
that's
the
cool,
National
man.
High School Wrestling Show with Henry Race. It's across the Jacob Media Network. We're going to take our final commercial break on this special edition of the National High School Wrestling Show. Ben Clymer's in the green room. He's coming up in a moment. Back. And back here on the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Race. It's good stuff from the Bachman brothers and the Bassett's brothers, Henry. Good stuff. Good way to kick off the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Race. It's across the Jacob Media Network. We're going to finish up today with our coach, Ben Clymer's joining us here for our final segment of the first edition here in 2025. Henry, over to you, sir.
All right. First, we got to step back a couple seconds and introduce him as Coach of the Year, Ben Clymer. Congratulations, Coach, on that honor.
That honor goes to a lot of people, man, but I appreciate it.
Nah, Ben's Mr. Humble, man. The light hits him. He's like, shoot that over there. I'm good.
Get it off of you, man. Somebody else.
Now I hear you. Well, congratulations is in order. Well deserved. You guys have been on quite the tear in the last month, knocking down the Ironman title, the Beast of the East title. I mean, you're in the light, man. You're going to get some color from that. There's no way to avoid it, right?
No, I don't run from it, but I still want to be conscious of the fact that there's just a lot of people that put in a lot of effort, man. There's from coaches to parents, club coaches in the off season. So, I don't run from it. I am appreciative of it. And at the same time, just want to make sure other people get their nod too. So try to find a nice balance at, being appreciative and thankful and also giving other people props.
So, Ben, we had Ryan on the first show, and he really walked us down memory lane with Faith Christian and where they were. And they were like at a fruit stand or something. They used to practice in this crazy facility, and now where you are now. And it's just an amazing story that you're an integral part of. What does that mean to you, you and the Clymer family to raise this to where it is?
It's really cool to be a part of. And there were some really neat days to look back to where like their first year, we like ran a hill and hand fought on a soccer field. You know what I mean? We didn't have anybody that really knew how to wrestle. We certainly didn't have like a facility or mats or anything. And we still wanted to get it going. So it was, from there, we were carpooling down to Henzo Gracie to try to log practices. Like some dicey scenes, man. I'd pack like 12 kids into my Jeep Liberty and find a way to get down the road to practice. And
Jeep Liberty.
Yeah. Then we had the fruit stand sulkies. And so it's just a lot of memories like that. And I think it is really neat to see where things are. And again, appreciative of a lot of people that maybe invested early that, now we enjoy the fruit of that labor, guys buying in and helping at the grassroots but it's really cool, man. A lot of times, like there's a proverb that I'll cling to. It says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but those who gather little by little will profit. And so those years of just gathering little bit by little bit and having to stay humble and having to figure it out, it still is with us today. And as the lights are on and everybody wants to applaud you, you just kind of stay to those grassroots. So it's cool looking back, and there's a lot that we can apply still today. So.
No, I love that brick by brick mentality. And we had a couple of your wrestlers on today who threw around a couple Benisms at us. Like I don't want to start calling them Paul's for
Power in the Paws.
Power in the Paws. That was it. Power in the Paws. I love that.
Man.
How to slow everything down and enjoy the moments. And there's a lot of moments around this school and this institution that you're building. The flashing lights do not seem to bother a lot of these kids. That's amazing, the maturity that your guidance is providing for these kids.
Yeah, Christ is a focal point, and like when you point to Him, and when your identity is found in Him, it kind of frees you up to enjoy that stage, because ultimately it's not going to define you if you're defined by what Iron Man says and Beast says, and like every single weekend, like. Yeah, it could chew you up and spit you out because you're probably not going to be like the top dog all the time. But if at your core you're defined by what Christ says, and you're following after Him and trying to apply His word to your life and your heart, and those fruits are coming out of you, you'll probably be able to withstand all the pressures and stuff that comes your way. You can do it with joy.
Let me ask you this. And when we had the Bachman brothers on, I posed the question to them. I'd love to get your perspective on it. I'm fascinated by the number of college athletes today and professional athletes who are now stopping on a dime without thought and crediting their position, their success and what they've just experienced to their faith in God. I think it's a pretty amazing movement, and it seems to be growing. Your thoughts on that?
I think you're spot on. I see it a lot too, and it's really neat that when you see guys at the college level and the professional level, like it does give validity to what you as a coach are preaching. So if the kids are getting a little bit tired of hearing what Coach Ben has said and the 9 fruits of faith and these other things, but all of a sudden, like, you take a peek up at what those Penn State boys and Ohio State and Iowa and Missouri is like, a lot of those athletes are credited in Christ. So I think it's really awesome. As far as like what to accredit it to, I think within our sport, and I am seeing it on like a large scale too in football, basketball, but in our sport, there's always been, I think like the leaders in our sport have done a great job at professing their faith in Christ, and it almost has been a popular thing. You don't find that in many sports. It's one of the reasons that I love wrestling. I love a lot of sports. I played a lot of sports. And one of the reasons that I'm very grateful I get to push this is because a lot of the giants in our sport are followers of Christ. And so on the larger scale, what can you attest it to? There's, not to get political because that's not me either, but there's a lot of like crazy stuff that goes on in the world. And it makes people wonder, you know what I mean? What is going on and what's making people tick? And maybe there is something more to just our opinion. And all of a sudden you start opening up God's word and maybe that has made things popular on a bigger scale. People searching for more answers. So I don't know exactly why it's popular. It definitely is, like you're saying. And I'm just grateful God has sent a son for us. He gives us his word so we can grow in his truth and try to do the best job I can at doing that.
So Ben, aside from running an amazing wrestling program, for you at the end of the day, what is the spiritual paycheck in molding these kids? I mean, you see them when they first cut their 9th grade, you have them for 4 years. Some wrestlers on your team you've had since they were in elementary school, right? So like Gage, and he's been around for a long time. What is that paycheck like? I mean,
I really like. There was Coach Chris Mary from wherever he was Coach of the Year at, and I got introduced to him one time, and the person that introduced me was like, "This guy was Coach of the Year and this that, and he coached this many state champs." And when I got introduced to him, he said, "Man, I just want to be known as a great father and husband." And so, with what you're talking about, like people proclaiming Christ on a big stage, what I envision is like we get these guys for a small window of time, and then they are going to go on to become fathers and husbands and therefore impact their homes and their communities and whatever like that is. So the paycheck, if you will, is while we have a lot of wrestling goals and everything like that, I want to try to exemplify within that pursuit of wrestling the type of husband that I am to my wife and the type of father I am to my kids and constantly pausing, which is not popular, but to just give cadence to those things. You know what I mean? And so if we're impressing those things upon the kids, like ultimately, like they have to decide who Christ is in their life. You know what I mean? And that's a different time thing for everybody. But if you're impressing that upon them, you're giving them those tools, then seeing them become fathers and husbands and impact people in a Christ-like way, in a positive way, that's a paycheck, man. Just kind of paying it forward. Christ did it for us. I've had family and coaches and so many people take the time to pour into me. So, I'm insignificant, but I got a quick window of time here to impress Christ upon other people and try to pour into them. And that fires me up. That's worthwhile. And all the things that you can invest into your money and time and efforts, trying to help kids be godly fathers and husbands is pretty paramount, in my opinion.
So Ben, let me ask you a question. How do you coach up a kid going through some tough times, adversity? How do you teach them to deal with adversity?
A lot of different ways. Sometimes like just getting tougher and kind of like battling through it is obviously like a tack that you can take. And so meeting the kid early in the morning before school and staying after with them, depending on what that like tough time is, But if the tough time is not like wrestling related per se, there's something going on at home or just catching an injury bug and emotionally starting to lose some stability, you know, I try to take the time to give that kid scripture that he can resonate and have in his heart, so that when he's like having those moments of doubt and dark times, and you know, a peace that surpasses understanding is something that's ringing in his mind. Like, and another thing, like I oftentimes Sundays is an important day for me to just be with my family and get them to church and address discipline things that we need to make sure we're having a productive week. But oftentimes, if I'm not able to, you know, within the practice time, impact a kid, I'll try to reach out to them and their parents and say, man, just come to church with me one time. Let's have breakfast afterwards and kind of figure out what's going on and maybe try a little bit different angle as to how we can help. So a lot of different ways. And we've got a lot of coaches. You know, there's some kids that don't react as well to me as they might Coach Matt or Coach Tom or Brother Scotty, other coaches we have on staff. And so, you know, sometimes it's just as easy as going, you know, Coach RP, you know, this guy really looks up to you. Go shed some light on him. And so, yeah, a lot of different ways to do it. But the biggest thing is just finding the time to pause and really find out what's bugging them at the core. And a lot of times, like whatever that issue is could come back to like, of all the hustle and things that you're investing your time into, like, is God one of them? Because I promise you, like, if you take a little time for that, I know it's unpopular, especially as a kid. It wasn't popular to me. So I'm not throwing the Bible at anybody. I ran from it. But yeah, they're trying to just nudge them that way and just take time with them. Oftentimes kids, like, you know, they really appreciate when you go out of your way to just invest time into them and lend an ear. So try to make sure they know that we have their back in that sense.
No, I love it. I mean, you know, my son's a freshman up there. He is growing by leaps and bounds being around this program. And when I first visited the school, I couldn't believe it's just 4 hallways. It's like the Field of Dreams, that you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
People do not realize that it's 4 hallways, you know, 6th grade to 12th. When you hear Faith, you hear, like, you know, as an outsider before I came to Faith, I'm Faith. I'm expecting to see something like the Hill School or, you know, these big campuses. And there's so much goodness packed into this little rectangle that people just, and there's a couple trailers on the, you know, the expansion trailers, but, you know,
we got to make a trip back we got to make a trip back to the old school. Like, you think the box we're in now is a little bit humble. That old school was like literally a church started a school, and that's what the school was ran out of up until 5 years ago.
Wow. Wait, is that the Canaan campus? Is that
the Canaan campus is where we're at now? I'm talking about Faith Church of Sellersville. It was originally Faith Baptist Church.
Okay.
And so Faith Christian Academy was born out of Faith Baptist Church.
Okay.
And so that school, again, that we were in up until 5 years ago, that was tiny. that was tiny, man. And you're talking about like elementary kids are on the first floor, high school's on the second floor, middle school's packed upstairs on the third floor, and they all sort of intermingle. And when I was the athletic director, we would have 3 lunch times right in a row.
Right.
And then right after that, all of them were in the gym. All of them were in the gym.
All the lunches were in the gym?
All the lunches were in the gym.
All right.
So then as soon as the last lunch is done, we'd have to pack up the chairs, pack up the tables. I was teaching like a gym class right after. So I'd have like some of the gym students help me clean this stuff up. I'm starting the gym class on one half of the floor while I got a teacher aide like running the Zamboni on the other half of the floor.
Oh my God, that is
as
so
soon as
funny.
the gym classes are done, I got basketball players coming in. Sometimes we'd be hosting a game and someone's like, how are we going to get these gummies off the floor? And I'm like, oh my goodness, dude.
That is hysterical.
That place was a scene. The fact that we were able to keep things afloat for those last 4 or 5 years was impressive on a lot of fronts. So the Canaan campus is still a humble place, but it is huge compared to what we have.
I always thought, I see the Canaan, I thought it was a different campus than the one.
Gotcha.
that we're at now. So I thought there was enough, because I didn't, when I was trying to get Henry in last year, I thought the elementary school was in a different place. I didn't realize it, 6th, 7th, it was all 6 to 12, right?
Yeah.
So is there an elementary school?
Now there is an elementary school. Same thing 5 years ago. They bought both campuses. So the elementary school is just like 2 minutes away.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And Fade, you guys do have a youth wrestling program too now, right?
Yeah, dude, they're booming. When we were leaving practice, they were coming in, running wrestle offs. They got 60, 70 kids.
Wow.
Lions Den is the name of the program. And yeah, man, they're rocking.
Ben, is it safe to say that the next 5 years are going to double in size at Faith Christian Academy? Sure, boy, it sure sounds like it.
Perhaps like they do a great job of like the educators that they hire are people that love the Lord and love to invest time into kids. And so, there is just a lot of that love. Like, man, teachers are there. They love what they do. The kids feel that. It's hard to trick a kid. You know what I mean? They can tell how you tick and how you wired and what's important to you. And, so.
And I think parents want that. And Ben, I think parents want that. I think, I think parents of the kids are craving that today.
Yes. And there's a lot of things you say, like, is it going to double, triple in the next 5 years? I think from the previous 5 years, you talk about COVID and a lot of just the differing things that are happening in curriculums. Again, not to go down that road. I'm a public school kid, but there's a lot of public school people who went, this isn't the place for my kids anymore.
I'm out. When they were doing their kids or cats and all this crazy stuff, I'm like, we're out of here. It's getting nuts.
So that has helped a lot of private schools. It certainly has helped ours. And so athletic programs are booming. The halls are already packed. There's a lot of really fruitful things happening, but if that wealth gain hastily will dwindle, but those who gather little by little will profit. I think, God has blessed like crazy in the past few years. And no matter what's on the forefront, it could be doubling, could be tripling, could be losing some, could be sort of staying stationary. Like, as long as we keep our focus on impacting people for Christ and working our tails off and having fun doing it, it'll keep working out. So
yeah, great stuff. 2 minutes left, Henry. I know you got a couple more questions for Ben. Just a couple of minutes left.
Oh yeah, Ben, coming down the home stretch here, getting ready for state titles and all that stuff. You have a pretty solid squad when you're kind of like waiting for some guys to get healthy, right? And the lighter weights to get healthy.
Yeah, one of them's that racist boy.
Yeah, we're gonna see. We have to talk about that. I know. You have the same exact injury he has, right? Or
yeah.
Okay, we have to talk about that. If you say strap it up and go, we'll put the surgery off. But we did talk about that. But how you feeling going down the stretch here? This time last year, compare this time last year to this year. How you feeling in general going forward?
Good. I think one of the parts just to like this year, like just if you could attest to like coming out of Christmas and New Year's, it's a lot of times just like a little bit of a fog. You know what I mean? Like your typical routine is probably a little bit thrown off, and so it's no different in wrestling. Like you come out of the holiday break and you're sort of like right in the middle part of that season. You don't see the end in sight quite yet, and
right.
And it could just kind of be easy to be bogged down and not highly motivated. And so we kind of have rode that wave. This past weekend wasn't particularly, awesome. But
closer than I expected. Some of those matches were a little tighter than I thought.
We're giving up, giving up forfeit points. A couple guys not there. So it's like you kind of ride that wave, and it's a perfect segue into like, all right, everybody back now. You know what I mean? We're going to start logging before school practices. We're going to start running. We're going to start sprinting. Practices aren't going to redefine all things technical. Like we're going to be mean. We're going to be calloused. And there's going to be no doubt in the guys' minds that they're peaking at the right time. So we've learned a lot and studied a lot of coaches, none more than Dave Kroll up at Nazareth. And the system that he does to peak his kids at the right time. And so Like right now, this week is when we put that plan into motion. And so I would say it was similar last year. Like guys are a little bit foggy and you almost start going like, man, did we start too fast? Did we do too much in December? And it's like, no, kids start excited, then they hit a lull, and it's our job to go, don't overthink the lull. You guys are all right. Let's get healthy. Let's wake up. Let's log a couple more sprints, get a little bit meaner, and we're going to peak at the right time. So some of those injuries that we're talking about, like that is yet to be determined, and it will play a big factor in how this state tournament plays out. But the kids see it, and we really believe it. Like it's just out of our control, man. We're going to work as hard as we can, and that state tournament, we're all competitive buggers, man. We want to win more than anything, but we don't get it twisted. That's a stage to point people to Christ, and however the injuries and everything shakes out, that's going to be our main goal. So it's going to be fun.
Your schedule, you certainly don't run from anyone. I mean, this schedule is pretty grueling. You know, pretty brutal. Like it's like you were like, all right, give me all the best. I want them. That's whoever made the schedule. That's what it looks like.
And some of those studs in our lineup have to come out of that gauntlet. Like these guys are like state champs committed to Division I universities, and they got like 500 records. So it's a good time here to just remind everyone, like, you're good, you're prepared, come up for air, and let's go sprint the month of January. And
power in the pause, Ben. Power in the pause.
Power in the pause.
I love that. I love that.
Another time, I'll explain it to you. There's
I got to get the full. I'm getting the version from Henry, which I'm sure is a microcosm of what it really is. But we'll have to sit down and talk.
I love it.
Great stuff. Thanks for coming on, man. And thanks for doing it while you're breastfeeding.
I can't believe she stayed asleep. I was ready to go throw her on the couch real quick.
It's the velvet vocals. The velvet vocals.
Ben Clymer joining us here on the National High School Wrestling Show. Ben, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, both. I appreciate it.
I'll be in touch, brother. Thank you.
See you.
Take care.
All right, good stuff, Henry. That's going to do it for the first edition of the National High School Wrestling Show in 2025. Again, the Bachman brothers kicking off the show today, followed by the Bassett brothers, and then finishing it up with Ben Clymer, who was fantastic. A great way to end the show. A lot of powerful messages from the coach. As the sprint gets ready to begin, I'll give you last word before we say goodbye.
No, Joe, it was a great show. I want you to, remember those names that were on the show today, because you're going to turn on the Olympics in 4, 8 years, whatever. And pretty much every kid on that panel will probably be representing the United States at some point in time on the national stage for wrestling, whether it be freestyle or folk style. Great first show for 2025. It's going to be tough to beat. I'll tell you that much. But, sky's the limit over there at Faith with Ben. I'm so happy my son is under his watchful wing as he matures into a young adult. And, this show is going to be a tool for us to go into the living rooms of all the best in the country. And I hope that the fans out here, as we grow in popularity, especially the younger kids, they realize that, the sky's the limit. The people we're talking to, they were once 5, 6 year old wrestlers falling in love with the sport, just like they are falling in love with the sport. And hopefully that becomes our catalyst and fan base, is to just get into the mind and the hearts and soul of the best. And that's what this show is going to do.
Yeah, and we're also going to reach out, and as the show rolls on here in 2025, we're going to provide, and you're going to give everyone an opportunity. You're going to go one-on-one with the best college coaches in the country.
Oh, for sure.
And that will be part of the show as we start to build everything out here on the National High School Wrestling Show. But as you said, and just to put an exclamation point on your thought, great first opening show here in 2025. I know we were live on location in December, and we kind of kicked off in December, but our weekly run now begins with this broadcast, and then we're going to roll every week on a nice 12, 14 week run here all the way through states and everything else. So should be good stuff, Henry.
Absolutely. And we'll roll right into the freestyle season as well, which butts right up against the folk style. So some of the same names that we have in the folk style arena, they do cross over into freestyle and Greco-Roman. So no, we have plenty of content to cover. If you're watching the show, you're a high school coach, a high school nationally ranked guy, please reach out. It's hard for me to find everybody, but you'll have all our information to reach out. Please, we'd love to hear your story. Coaches, wrestlers, college coaches, all of you. We'd like to hear your story. So reach out to us.
That's going to do it for this edition of the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich across the Jacob Media Network. I'm Joe Kraus. Good to be here. I'm here to get educated and meet some of these great wrestlers who have dedicated their entire life to getting to the pinnacle of success in a sport that is built one-on-one. And as Ben Clymer said, brick by brick, that's the way wrestlers are made. And Henry, you know that from your time in the sport in your youth. And of course, you're getting now a chance to watch your son go through it as well. That's going to do it for this edition of the National High School Wrestling Show. Until next time. See you next time, everybody.